The highest grossing blockbuster movie of all time was released in 2009. It was actually written, directed, and produced by the same guy who had done the previous highest revenue movie back in the 90s called Titanic. This was a much different kind of movie in 2009 called Avatar by James Cameron. Avatar is actually the story of a disabled military veteran named Jake Sully. But he gets sent on a special mission into a strange new planet that the US is looking into for resources. The planet is called Pandora, and he gets sent in actually as an avatar, a different kind of being that matched the 10-foot blue extraterrestrial beings that lived on that planet who are called Na'vi. Now at the same time, Jake Sully, he never stops being a human, but he does start to fully become a Na'vi, the people that he had entered into the world of. And therefore, the basic concept is this: when he gets there, he starts to fall in love with these indigenous people. He's torn up on the inside, he's tempted in a variety of different ways, but he ends up being on their side, fighting for their good and demonstrating a willingness to die for their salvation. When the movie first came out, it was actually an unusual picture in that it's one of those rare ones that is both a blockbuster gross success in revenue, but it also was pretty critically well received. One thing all the critics said, though, was how kind of political it ended up being. It was very sort of anti-colonial and anti-military. The one thing I didn't hear anybody talking about, and the one thing I thought was the most fascinating, was that the story of Avatar really is the story of self-sacrificial love. It's somebody who enters into the environment of a different people and maintains two natures, but demonstrates willingness to die for them. And avatar actually is a Hindu word that is the same thing as the Christian concept of incarnation. The story of Avatar is really just the story of the gospel of Jesus Christ. The Apostle Paul writes about it like this in Philippians 2. He says, "Jesus, who being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but he made himself different. He made himself nothing, taking the very nature of a servant, being made into human likeness." Jesus came from heaven to earth, and he loved us enough not only to become one of us. He loved us so much not only just to die to take away our sins, but he loved us so much to stay with us and be like one of us for all eternity. When Jesus comes back, he will be perfectly divine and perfectly human. And then when he welcomes us into his open arms, in the same way that he became just like us, we too are going to become just like him, with just as much glory as the divine. If you enjoyed this video, we'd love for you to head over to our website. We have hundreds more just like it. Be sure to join us tomorrow as we wrap up this series by looking at superheroes.